Late last night, MetaZoo announced an amnesty today, which will mean a complete unbanning of almost everyone who's ever been banned from their Instagram, maybe Facebook too, and their Discord. We're going to talk about all that and all the drama that's been going on. Many people have been asking for my response to the drama. I've sort of been giving it in Discord and on live streams, but fine, let's do it. Let's talk about the drama. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Argos Anonymous. I am Argos. It is Sunday, November 13th. We were live on YouTube last night when MetaZoo announced their amnesty for all of the bannings that have taken place since forever. Unless you were a scammer or something really over the top, you're going to get unbanned. And welcome back to the MetaZoo community. And there's a lot to talk about because that's the trending videos, right? Essentially on YouTube, you can say anything you want. Nothing gets as many views or as much attention as a video that says, I was banned, or MetaZoo did this, blah, blah, blah. That's the drama. That's been this ongoing conversation for quite a long time. So let's talk about that, what I think it means, what I think will happen. We're going to talk about policy change. We're going to talk about what is needed, other things that MetaZoo can do to improve various aspects of their business organization and communication and whatnot. Let's dive into it. So here's the thing about angry, unhappy people. Some people are always going to be angry. Some people are always going to be unhappy. There's a spectrum of human personality that is let's call it the disagreeable to agreeable spectrum. But here's the bottom line. People are born on this spectrum, and you can learn little habit adaptations or whatever, and like ways to become more one thing or more the other. But at the end of the day, you are what you are, and some people are so pathologically agreeable on one end of the spectrum, they end up just getting walked over and used all the time. They end up in toxic relationships, and that's not good. That's not healthy. Other people are so disagreeable, they are literally sociopaths. And let's be honest, like, if you're a disagreeable person by nature, you're a little bit harder to be around. That's the bottom line. I'm going to call it what it is. Disagreeable people make other people uncomfortable more often. They're more likely to argue. They're more likely to voice their opinion. They're more likely to have a thinner filter. They're more likely to get into arguments and debates on the internet or in your home or wherever, right? But it doesn't make them more or less likely to be wrong. And it doesn't make them inherently good or bad. You can have an agreeable person who is a bad person, and you can have an agreeable person who's wrong. And then, so your disagreeable people often get a bad rap because they make people uncomfortable. But unless you're a sociopath, you're not necessarily a bad person, right? And so when you look at the human population as a spectrum like that, you have a percentage of all people that are going to be that disagreeable bubble. And so the problem with having a policy that bans disagreeable people is that as your brand expands and evolves and moves forward, you will always and forever be banning a loud portion of the population, and it'll never stop. And it'll be the conversation forever because it will never, ever, ever stop. And so that's why you can't do it. And the other reason you shouldn't do it as a business, not only because it'll dominate the social conversation, is because these disagreeable fans buy product, right? Look at MTG. People complain about the price of collectors and specialty products, and then they buy packs, right? People complain about how bad the holos are in MTG. The MTG holos are so bad for a company that's been around for 30 years. They curl, they're covered in scratches, they're cloudy half the time. Yeah, every now and then they get it right, but for the most part, MTG holos are some of the worst holos in the entire industry, and almost everybody knows it. But these people who complain about it and make videos about it, they go in there and they complain and they rage fire, and then they buy packs, right? And then Pokemon people complain about prices and buy packs. They complain about scarcity and buy packs. They hate the management and buy packs, right? They do all this stuff all the time, complain, fight, fire, and then they buy packs because they are disagreeable fans. They're still fans. So from a company perspective, what do you want? You want people to buy packs. At the end of the day, you want to cultivate a community that is buying your product, that's buying your packs. That's how you ensure the stability of your brand, the growth of your brand, and the bottom line of your business. So you really don't want to adopt a policy that is going to get rid of a certain, let's say 20% of the people who would buy packs, because that's just 20% fewer people buying packs. And then every time you ban a disagreeable person too, maybe that nukes a play group, or maybe he worked at a store and then he goes to the store owner and goes, this is bad. I disagreeable person. I was banned, and this is a terrible company. And then you lose a whole store, right? You really can't There's so much collateral damage. It's almost like it's the 1990s approach to terrorism, right? You drop a bomb and you kill what you wanted, you get rid of what you wanted to get rid of, but then you hit a school. You have to be a little bit more political, I think, as a corporation if you're going to do this, because you'll never get rid of disagreeable people ever. Because they are part of what we are. They're part of the human population, and they always will be. And no amount of poking or prodding will change who they are. Next, on the topic of amnesty, some people are going to say that it doesn't matter, that it's too late. And those people are wrong, okay? So, because here's the truth of it. For some people, it's too late. For the significant majority of people, they will probably be glad that they can get back in and have access to MetaZoo again. Those people are going to be happy. And then other people are going to be like, feeling warm and tingly about it. Most people are not going to be permanently pissed and are not going to be totally wishy-washy happy. Most people fall in the middle of that spectrum, and a lot of them are much less vocal. So anyone who says it doesn't matter, you're wrong. This is obviously a step in the right direction, but only if this is the first step towards policy change, right? So if you unban everybody and then you start banning them again, then it doesn't matter, right? And so some people are going to be waiting for that to happen, right? So in my opinion, what MetaZoo could do and probably should do is define their banning policy, probably redefine it, and then stick to it and post it where people can see it. So if you go into the MetaZoo Discord and you post not safe for work stuff, if you're harassing somebody, if you're racist or whatever, and maybe they should be a little bit less liberal about that, like a poop emoji maybe isn't harassment, like maybe like directly railing on somebody is harassment, you know? And then you're gonna get banned, right? But I don't think that, personally, I don't think the banning policy should extend to anything outside the Discord. I think that everybody in all games and all brands complains all over the internet, and you can't go track them down in their own home and hold them accountable for what they're saying outside of your personal space. Like take my home, for example, right? So like I can control what people say in my home. This is my house. Like if someone's in my house and someone's saying something that I don't want them to say around my kids or something, I can tell them to shut up, right? I can tell them to stop. It's my home, right? But I can't go into your home and tell you what to say. And I can't go onto Instagram and police. You know, I can't go to the mall and tell people what to say. I can't go to Walmart or a movie. Like I can't go out in the street and control speech because it doesn't work. And it makes people really irritated. And personally, I think MetaZoo should focus on their Discord environment and shouldn't get involved in anything on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, live streams, as far as any kind of repercussions for anything anyone says, because these are fans. Most of them, the vast majority of them are fans, even if they say something bad, because that's just how people are. You know, a lot of people will joke and vent and be sarcastic and then buy packs. You know, and so you can't, and it's very difficult to differentiate between an actual person who's instigating a problem and real people. And personally, I don't think you should even go after the people you think are instigating problems, because you can't do that. You know, you just can't do it. You just gotta let humans be humans, let them vent, be laissez-faire, let the people do as they choose outside of the Discord, and then do what you have to do in the Discord to keep the peace. In a normal way, like, you know, banning for a bunch of F-bombs or something crazy. Stay out of everything else, because there's too much collateral damage. Now, the Oasis Discord is my Discord, and I'd like to point out that we haven't had to ban anyone for anything that they've done in the Discord, except for scammers or whatever, or like a bots, right? Like a bot comes in and posts 100 things in every channel. We ban that person. And then there were two people who, admittedly, that I did ban at the beginning because they've done nothing but like go after me for like 8 months. And so I was like, well, you know, you can't come in. But everyone else, no one's ever done anything to get banned. And part of the reason perhaps for this is what we did to handle this kind of conversation, these ruminative negative conversations that tend to take over social media, is we created assault caverns, right? So instead of banning people or muting people, we have the salt caverns, and then we have a salt miner role in Discord. And so if you are starting to ruminate about negativity and stuff like that, and it's just dwelling, and it comes up for like the 8th time in a day, we will just sort of gently remind someone that we have assault caverns for that, and that they can take assault caverns. And then in assault caverns, it becomes kind of funny because people complain about legitimate things, but if it goes too far, people will start putting like salt memes or like salt miner memes, salt intensifies and stuff, and it creates more of like a funny feeling of camaraderie where we can all come together and complain about stuff, but in like a lighter tone and without banning or muting or having to be like, hey, only positive positivity only, like it makes like a more real experience, and we've never had to ban anybody, so that's good. And the reason again is because fans complain and then buy cards, right? They love MetaZoo. The vast majority of these people love MetaZoo who are complaining. They love it. They're passionate, and so it's really positive that MetaZoo is opening the doors again to all of these people. And if they enact policy change going forward and then stick to it and make it public and really make it work, I think this is a really positive thing, even though for some people they'll say it's too late, I'm never coming back. That's fine. Those people don't have to come back, because a lot of other people, I think the majority of people, will come back and will appreciate this. And if MetaZoo follows the policy change going forward, this is clearly a positive turning point for MetaZoo going forward, even if some of the early people are too miffed and never come back. On the topic of freedom of speech and how people operate, think about our country at the origin of the United States, the First Amendment. Those brilliant people who wrote the Constitution and figured out all the rules and the structure of our country. The First Amendment is freedom of speech. Think about why that is. It's not because Karen wrote the government. It's not because Karen was there and who had to have an opinion. No, it's because if you don't let people vent, it gets worse. People as humans, we need to be able to collaborate and commiserate and vent and talk. And if you put a lid on that and you prevent the venting, some people become despondent. Some people, their anxiety and stress gets worse. Some people blow up and they do worse things, So the founding fathers of the United States knew how people were. They knew how humans were. We, as a species, we have not changed. Even though technology has changed dramatically in the last couple thousand years, we are still the same tree and fungus worshipping, pig offering whatever things that we were thousands of years ago biologically. And so it's unlikely that anything has changed really from like a human, like an intrinsic biological and psychological perspective as to how it were since the country was founded. And so that idea that freedom of speech is important, it really holds true. People need it. They need it to be able to go forward and not do something worse. So what will banned people do going forward? I think MetaZoo will announce this amnesty, and I think some people will say it's too late. Forget about it, right? And a lot of people will come back in and not say anything. They'll just come back in and be like, okay, cool, let's see how this goes. And then other people will be thrilled and they'll be loud about it. You have your agreeable vocal population, your disagreeable vocal population, and then the majority of people, the silent majority, will just kind of absorb it and see how it goes. Another thing that I think would really benefit MetaZoo would be some kind of change regarding how order fulfillment is communicated. So the problem with Discord is it's not really an effective method of communication. It's really not. It's great for in the moment, like live chat, but it's not good for finding information. A lot of the searches don't really work. It's hard to find the information you want if it was just casually said. If you have multiple people answering the same question, you might get multiple different answers. And so the problem with order fulfillment updates is that I think sometimes you have people answering the questions that don't have the latest updates. So you have one person on the MetaZoo staff saying these are shipping today. Another person says next week. Another person previously said a month ago, right? And there's no real cohesive way to update the information. And because there's been a lot of delays on products, you have a fan base who is starting to be like, look, here's the problem. You have a recession. Prices of everything are crashing. And then products stop getting delivered, and then there isn't communication. And it's starting to lead to a palpable sense of concern, I think, in the community, the lack of communication in that regard. And so I really think there would be a lot of value, especially given the economic climate that is putting a lid on secondary market prices. Because here's the thing about secondary market prices, right? Quality is assumed based on value. This is in part the value of having early edition products for a collectible that are worth so much money, because you can't say Magic is failing when an Alpha Black Lotus costs $300,000 to $500,000, right? If you see sales like that, Magic's doing fine. That's what people will say. But when you see things tanking, no matter the reason, right, concern comes because people will just make assumptions no matter what, right? And so I think anything that you can do to reassure the population, you can't control the markets, you can't, and a lot of it has to do with the background anyway. this like financial recession, inflation background, right? But you certainly can make it worse by not communicating things, okay? And I think that's what's happening right now is that MetaZoo will communicate, but they do it in a way that people can't find the information. They do talk about the updates for shipping and logistics, but they do it casually in their Discord, and then it gets buried under 18,000 pages of text and no one can find it. So my suggestion for MetaZoo was, in a public organized space, you could do it through like a search and filter forum on the Discord, I guess, if you had to stay in Discord, or you could do it through like a ticket support system on Discord, again, if you had to stay in Discord. But my suggestion was put it on the website. Take the MetaZoo website and put a logistics and shipping page on MetaZoo website and just have everything that's been ordered, everything that anyone has paid for, right? So like Revive Wilderness, lunch boxes, I don't know, tarot cards before they, did ship, right? Anything like the WPT gilded decks, right? Put what's on there on a list and then put the estimated ship date and keep it up to date, right? And then put like, if you want to put a little blurb, a little detail, you can, but you don't really have to. Just let people know. And if the ship date is 4 months delayed, put it up there just so people know, and they won't like that it's delayed, but they will appreciate the transparency and the communication. And if you can give them a reason, that's fine too. But keep in mind, some people want to know why everything is delayed. But MetaZoo has a lot of partners they're working with, right? And as a brand new company, keep in mind, MetaZoo is tiny compared to like Tops, right? Compared to eBay. And MetaZoo can't give their community any grain of salt that would lead to a conversation that would start roasting the partner. And because social media is so drama driven, right? That's what people would do. So if MetaZoo said, well, these are late because Fated Spade had a problem, they messed up on these other decks and we're trying to fix it before we roll out the gilding. We're trying to fix the size of the holo card so that gilded decks don't have mismatched holo and non-holo cards so that everyone can just play the deck with the holo in it. We're trying to fix that, and that's why it's so delayed, right? The problem with that is then social media will blow up and be like, Fated Spade sucks, right? And so like if you're a new company trying to partner with a whole lot of different people in the future, and any conversation evolves trashing one of the partners you're working with now, who's going to want to work with you in the future? And so MetaZoo is trying to, and this is just my opinion, tread carefully and maintain these positive relationships with partners, despite the fact that there have been issues with manufacturing that a lot of the times is outside of their control, because MetaZoo is not at, these products are being produced outside of MetaZoo's factory. A lot of them are being produced by the partner, and the partner will assign the account to one of their random employees, and those people are of all different types of quality. You have some very high quality, intelligent account managers at some of these production facilities, and then other ones you have Karen the intern. You don't know who you're going to get. And if you're a brand new account, are they going to assign you like the elite management team? No, you're probably more likely to get stuck with Karen the intern. It is what it is. But I still think there's room to more transparently discuss and update these logistic changes with people so that people aren't left in the dark. And in the context of all of the market decline and financial recession and stuff that's causing a lot of anxiety, I think this communication will go a long way. So today at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time was MetaZoo's amnesty moment, where they let a bunch of people back in. If you're an NFT scammer or something like that, you're probably still going to stay banned. Like, they probably went through the ban list. And if you did something really bad, you might still stay banned. And if you come into the Discord and you immediately start posting like, nudie photos or dropping a bunch of F-bombs or like harassing people or doing something crazy, then you're just going to get banned again. But I think the vast majority of people will just breathe a sigh of relief and start enjoying MetaZoo again, feeling like they're not excommunicated. And some of them, it will take time. But overall, I think this is a very positive turning point for the MetaZoo community, and hats off to MetaZoo for doing it. Everyone is human. Everybody makes mistakes. Fans make mistakes. Management makes mistakes. Logistic people, factory people make mistakes. Content creators make mistakes. Everybody does it. And so the best you can do is to try to evolve your strategy in the best way possible for the future. And that is what MetaZoo is doing today. And so hopefully we see some good policy changes and some improved communication and some improved community relationships coming from this. That's all I have for now. Thank you, MetaFam, for stopping by. I always do appreciate this opportunity to update and entertain you fine peoples of MetaZoo. This is Argos, signing out.